When it comes to figuring out the dose and the timing, know that this is going to be trial and error. You're not just going to be able to do, oh, just take this, it's going to be jazzy. There's going to be some things where you need to figure out the timing and the dose. So first we'll talk about adjusting the dose. So when we look at taking this ox bile, we need to understand that the bile is supposed to come down from the gallbladder into the duodenum. Bile should not be going into the stomach. That's not how the body works, because bile is alkaline. If you're going to alkalize the stomach while you're trying to digest food, that's going to decrease your ability to break that food down. So a lot of people make the mistake of taking ox bile with their meal. Well, they're turning off their ability to acidify that food, break it down, and get the nutrients out of that food. So when we're taking ox bile, we really want to take it away from food so that it can move through the stomach while there's not food in there, or we want to eat our food and allow it to acidify for 60, 90, 120 minutes, and then take the ox bile to help neutralize those acids so then it can move through at an appropriate pace. So when you're figuring out the dose or the amount of ox bile that you might need to help neutralize the acids that are coming from digesting that food, we need to think about, am I bloated? Am I having acid reflux? And what's the speed of my stool? Am I leading too far on that diarrhea side or too far on the constipation side? If a person is bloating or they have acid reflux and they need to acidify that stomach more to correct that issue, but they don't have enough bile to neutralize those acids, well, they could really magnify a loose stool issue. They could also create a loose stool issue if there wasn't one. So when a person takes steps to acidify the stomach, but their stool is already loose, they're really going to have to adjust this dose. They're probably going to need a higher dose. And I hear from people all the time that they do great taking one ox bile tablet. Maybe some people need to take 2, 3, 4. It really depends on your situation, and you're going to have to do this trial and error stuff to figure out what's going to work best for you. If a person had to take steps to acidify the stomach, and then if the stool was too loose, then they might need to increase the dose of that ox bile, or they could adjust the timing of that ox bile, okay? So maybe they eat their food, and maybe just 60 minutes later, maybe they take the ox bile to neutralize those acids then, so that the acids are not moving through and creating the loose stool issue. But if a person is taking their ox bile 60 minutes after their meal and then they get really bloated, well, then they may need to move that further away from the meal. So it's going to depend on what you experience. Is a person more bloated or maybe more acid reflux and maybe showing that, oh, I need to acidify this a little bit better before I put the ox bile in? Or is the stool really loose and the person needs to figure out, oh, maybe I need to put the ox bile in sooner so I neutralize those acids before they run off and come shooting out the back door?